Hi, everyone. I am truly delighted to be here with you today. It was very important for me. It's a very exceptional moment. It's my first time in this network. And it's very important because I discovered deliberative democracy 15 years ago through the G1000 initiative. I don't know if you know this initiative, maybe raise your hands. Just to, okay, wow, it's famous, wow. So, this initiative changed the way I see a democracy. And I will come back to that later. But I can tell you already, this democratic innovation have deeply shaped my work, my vision, and even my life mission. And my life mission is about connecting people together. It's about bridging. And that, in essence, is what I want to share with you today. So, my grandparents came from a small village in the mountain in Morocco in the 1960s, and they planned, like a lot of family for migration, is to work here, and after that, return home. But destiny had other plans. Today, their 11 children, their 50 grandchildren live in Brussels, Rotterdam, Düsseldorf, Madrid, so we become a real European family. And for 20 years, I've been involved in civil society, always connecting people from different cultural and social backgrounds. And today, the talk is about inclusion, because yes, democratic innovation, so I slept 2 hours, so please be patient with me today. It's about the involvement of citizens, but for me, it's more than this is about creating space with different people to dream together, to think together about the future of their place, of their city, of their country. So for this keynote, I want to share with you three parts. First, because for a lot of you it's the first time in Brussels, I want to share with you a short overview of Brussels today, some key figures, but above all, the challenges of diversity and inclusion in the city. Second, I will share the three democratic experiments that I have tested, what I call radical inclusion. And finally, I will offer a few reflections for the next decades, how we can build more inclusive democracies together. So let's start with Brussels in 2025. So Brussels is not just the capital of Belgium or the political heart of Europe. With about more than 1 million residents, Brussels is considered the most cosmopolitan city in Europe and the second most multicultural city in the world after Dubai. Let me give you a few glimpses of this fascinating and complex city. First, it's a culturally diverse city. Nearly 14% of residents are not Belgian national, 40%. 74% have at least one parent born abroad. There are 148 nationalities, so it's a true microcosm of the world. And this is Brussels' greatest strength, its diversity. Second, it's linguistically diversity. It's important because when you want to think about the future of the city, language is also important. But in Brussels, you can hear over 100 languages in Brussels. Just take a metro ride or go to the city market and visit a local market, and you will hear French, Dutch, English, Italian, Arabic, Swahili, and dozens more. And in Brussels, we have 2 official languages, French and Dutch, and in the country, we have a third, it's German. And sometimes the lingua franca is English, even if we are in Brussels or when we discuss between people from Wallonia and Flanders. Third, about Brussels, it's socially diverse city. And here the contrasts are striking. Brussels ranks more than ranks among the richest region in Europe in terms of GDP, and yet 1 in 3 children lives in poverty. Employment rates can vary from 13 to 33% depending on this municipality. So yes, Brussels is multicultural. Yeah, we are very proud of this. But when you look closer, you see different worlds living side by side without really meeting. Brussels is like an archipelago, many islands, but through bridge. Different worlds coexisting side by side, but not necessarily meeting. So this is why the challenge of inclusion is very important, and that's my second part of my talk. We often talk about diversity and inclusion, but what do these words really mean? Verna Myers once said, diversity is being invited to the party. Inclusion is being invited to dance. That's a great image, but to me, it's not enough. It's not enough because I believe we need to go even further. And this reason why I want to talk about radical inclusion. Radical inclusion is not just being invited to the party or to dance at the party, it's being part of organizing the party. It means sitting at the table before the invitations go out. It's co-designing the space, shaping the agenda, and making sure that those who are usually invisible, the unheard, the voiceless, are part of the process. And this idea applies everywhere, in neighborhoods, in parent association, in companies, in government, and of course, in democracy itself. Let me share 3 concrete experiences that shaped my conviction that radical inclusion is not a dream, it's a practice. The first is about G1000. My first encounter with participatory democracy was back in 2011. At the time, Belgium had set a world record, 541 days without a government. Yes, even longer than Iraq. And in Brussels, next week, for the first time, we don't have a government, and next week is 500 days without government. So I think that we need a new G1000 in Brussels, maybe. Huh? And through the G1000, when the writer David van Riebeeck launched this bold idea, bring together 1,000 randomly selected citizens from across the country to deliberate on the future of Belgium, it was a groundbreaking moment with international attention. It was an extraordinary democratic experiment, the first of its kind in Belgium. But very quickly, I was one of the co-founders. I realized something. Random selection alone is not enough. Even in a participatory process, some people were being left out. The homeless, undocumented people, those without an address, without digital access, without higher education. And if we had done nothing, the process would have reproduced exclusion instead of challenging it. So we decided to go beyond the lottery, and we went out into the street, into shelters, community centers, local associations, to invite the excluded to take part in shaping this democratic conversation. And it worked. That experience taught us something crucial. Random selection is powerful, but not enough. True democracy means actively reaching out to those who are rarely reached. That was my first lesson 15 years ago now. Inclusion doesn't happen by accidents. It requires attention, time, outreach, and creativity. The second is building on that. In 2019, I launched Women 100, Women 100 with 100 women. So our goal was to bring together one woman change makers from all 19 Brussels municipalities to reflect on the city's future and make women's voice heard in all their diversity. But this time, because it was also expensive, we didn't rely on random selection. We used a target inclusion methodology to ensure maximum diversity across culture, age, class, and geography. We used data built on a sociological snapshot of 100 women representing Brussels. So we mapped the city sociologically and asked how many women over 65 should be included, how many single mothers, how many women from each municipalities. And to reach them, and it was the key of the success of this wonderful initiative, we created a steering group, a cockpit that mirrored Brussels' diversity itself. So it was extraordinary to see the power of connection, and what happened was powerful. So we connected a world that never meets. So in the steering group, it was very diverse. So one of us, for example, it was me, I was deeply engaged in popular neighborhoods. Another, Joanna, was more involved in the European Quarter. Two universes that usually live in parallel, even if we are in Brussels, suddenly came together to imagine the future of the city. And that's exactly what participatory democracy is about, creating space where people meet, think, and build together. And the third example, more recently, we launched the Youth Coalition. I was in charge of the candidacy to make Molenbeek and Brussels the future European capital of culture. And for this, we asked 1,000 young people aged to 15 to 30 about their dreams, fears, and hope for the future of the city. And then we brought 100 of them together using the same inclusive design approach as Women 100. And for 3 days, they worked in the Brussels parliaments and identified 4 key priorities of the city future. And I want to share the topic because I think it was very interesting and very relevant when you give trust for the young people. And the first they identify as a challenge is about social justice. So the question is how to tackle the socioeconomic inequality. Second, super diversity, how to live together when we don't share the same past but want to build a common future. 3, nature in the city, how to make Brussels greener and more sustainable. 4, public space, how to make it safer and more welcoming for everyone. These young people didn't just contribute, they co-create a vision for the city, a true civic manifesto. And it reminds us that when you give voices and power to the youth, you are not just preparing the future, you are transforming the present. It was not just a consultation, it was a vision for the city in 2030. So, how do we make sure in the next 10 years our democratic innovation truly includes to include those who are often excluded? I see 3 key, and I want to conclude with this. So the 3 key principles. I learned that it's about, so first it's about time, trust, and listening. Building trust takes time. Participation doesn't happen overnight. We need bridges, People who speak the language, who can connect institutions with communities, to bring people, especially those who have been excluded. You need mediators, people who understand the cultural and social codes of diverse community, who has a fit in the institution and a fit in the community. The second key principle is creativity. We need creativity to reach those who live outside traditional structures, people without email addresses, people who can't read or write. Participation requires going where people are. Meet them where they are. Democracy should not be reserved for those who are already equipped to participate. Community building and belonging, that's my last key point. Participatory process build more than ideas. They build communities. They restore a sense of belonging to a city, to a country, to a shared story. But here's the challenge, is too often these projects are one-shots. We invest enormous energy in preparation and deliberation, but not enough in follow-up. We create hopes, and sometimes we stop after the process. We create enthusiasm, strong relationships between people, and I think that it's our responsibility to continue. So community building is important. We need continuity because what begins as participation can grow into lasting democratic culture. So I wanted to close, to end with one of my favorite quotes, and it was mentioned by Yves, and because what he said, it's also my slogan, my motto, this sentence from Gandhi. What you do for me without me, you do against me. That's the essence of inclusive democracy. Radical inclusion means inviting people not just to speak, but to shape the space itself. Not only speaking for the voiceless, but inviting them to organizing democracy with us. Radical inclusion is not a slogan, it's an invitation. An invitation to rethink our methods, our institution, and even our habits. An invitation to ask ourselves, and I want to challenge each of you here this morning, today, and tomorrow. So in your projects, in your organization, in your country, ask yourself, have I truly included the people concerned in organizing the party? Look around the table. If people look like you, something is wrong. So let's build a movement of radical inclusion. Let's make sure our democratic innovations are not only for the people, but with the people, by the people, and through the people. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Fatima. And after your speech, I'm going to invite you in both rooms not to ask questions. We have very limited time, but I have one question for you. What do you feel? And I propose that you take 2 minutes, and then a few of you will be invited to express to Fatima your feelings after this keynote. So let's go. You take 2 minutes, and the question to your neighbor, what do you feel? What do I feel? And express your feelings, because the emotion is something important in what we do. And so after this keynote, how do you feel? So 2 minutes.
Good morning. I'm Cynthia Mbamalu from Nigeria. Yaga Africa is the nonprofit I work with. Just thank you so much, Fatima, for that powerful keynote. I think I was just discussing with Tessa, and I said I felt it was more reflective, and I felt a bit emotional, because when she talked about participation and even in how we must be intentional in reaching out, because sometimes random sampling is a beautiful methodology, but in diverse community like ours, one of the things we learned was there's a likelihood to exclude persons with disability, those who are homeless, the less educated, and so we had to introduce some purposive sampling too, because you need to get their voices in. But just talking about that, it's not just having them to the party or inviting people to the party or to dance, but being part of the organizing, because it makes policy reforms a lot more inclusive. It just really I felt really emotional, because it made me think about the new ways to actually reach out in a way that our work truly gets those who are ordinarily excluded just because of their identity or their status in life. Thank you. It was really powerful. And then as a young woman, I really, really feel inspired listening to you. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. And so, thank you for joining from Nigeria. So I didn't see anybody coming in. Is there someone from the other room that is there? So if you can bring 2 persons from the other room. So now, would we go in travel to Australia to acknowledge those who have crossed the earth to join us?
Thank you for the opportunity. I mean, Eve, I don't know why you come to Australia, but anyway, the other end of the world, we don't even know that we're in Asia. We don't know where we are, type thing. So yes, I mean, Fatima, I totally agree with you, but we don't necessarily get a consensus here. I mean, there is a sense that the random selection, if it's done well, will reach certain people, but reach everyone. That's not true. I'm sorry. I don't believe that. You've got to make an extra effort, as you say. You know, the illiterates, the people with disability, people who will not even recognise an invitation to be involved. So you've got to make that extra effort. I think that effort needs to be made, so I'm inspired by your words. Thank you. The emotion is, yes, we're not doing enough.
Ready to do more. Thank you, Luca. So do we have someone from the other room? Nobody? This is not inclusive at all, so are you from the other room? Wonderful, thank you.
Thanks for including us. Hey, everyone next door. The feeling is, Jamie from London, from One World or None. Is that okay?
That's okay.
Past the country test. The feeling, the response, it was a fantastic keynote, right? And the feeling is this, it's not, the big difference, what Cynthia was saying as well is very important. It's not ticking a box. It's actually massively improving the results, right? And I think the attitude for so long has been, we must include young people, let's have youth voices, you know, or someone of colour, all this, that's got to go. What it is someone who's disabled, who has no access at all, their view of the world is so enriching. It's not just like a good thing to do. Without this inclusivity, this radical inclusivity, it's empty. It's a vacuous experience, right? So the feeling, in one word, is massively reassuring to hear what you're saying, right?
Thank you, Jamie. Thank you very much.
Good morning.
Good
morning. Thank you very much. I just wanted to make a very short statement. Sorry, I'm Cornelia Perle, independent consultant, former Council of Europe, and very, let's say, burning for deliberative, participatory and deliberative democracy. And I just wanted to make one point. You asked about emotions, and I thought just so impressed how authentic you are and how you can get us our hearts. And I thought it's not coincidence you are female. And sorry to all the male to all the male colleagues, but I think about this since a time how many strong, powerful, authentic women are fighting, going out, standing up for this citizen participation. And I think it's not a coincidence because it's our form to make our voices heard, and I think you are just such a great example, and thanks a lot for the inspiring morning talk.
Thank you so much, Cornelia. So, Fatima, what's your feeling?
Yeah, we talk about emotion and I have tears in my eyes. I have tears in my eyes because, so thank you, Eve, for the invitation. So I was abroad, and for me it was very important to be here today because, you know, in your life, you are always struggling. And because, you know, my journey, my story of my grandparents is also a story of discrimination, exclusion, and I find in the participation in democracy, innovative democracy, an answer for this discrimination, not by ticking box, but to think together. I do believe in collective intelligence, the power of the super collective. And when we think together, I told to you the feeling of belonging is very important in the process. And social cohesion in our democracy, it's urgent, particularly in this time. In Europe, you can see the increase of the extreme right political parties. People become more and more selfishness, and sometimes, to be honest, I have doubts and fears for the future of this country, of Europe, of the world too. But we are together an answer, and let's be radically inclusive, and thank you again for this opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, Fatima.